This is a one-speaker meeting. Please welcome our speaker tonight, Mickey.
Mickey!
Great shirt.
I only wore this shirt in case I went unnoticed. Hi everybody, my name's Mickey Bush and I'm a fully conceited alcoholic. Probably an addict too, probably. Yeah. God. This is the second of the two commitments that I have here at this meeting. You know, I'm the door dude, the in and outdoor dude, and I take great pride in having that commitment here. And I'm Sean's standby speaker if and when he has speakers that can't or get stuck or whatever. I'm quite prepared to step up to the plate and take the place like I am right now. And that's two commitments I have at this Wednesday night meeting. I'm very proud of those commitments, and you know that I hold them very dear. And all the troops that I work with, I teach about having their commitments and holding their commitments precious to them and important to them. And that's what I learned here. I learned that in Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't bring it in with me. I learned it here. In fact, the Tuesday night Ohio Street meeting, my sponsor said, we're going to wash the cups. I said, I don't want to wash the cups. He said, we'll go and get drunk. I said, I don't want to get drunk. He said, well then if they'll let us, we'll go and wash the cups. I said, what cups? He said, all them big ass china cups that they have down there. I said, holy shit, it's like 200 cups. So we washed the cups. It took ages. During the week, he said, don't forget Tuesday we'll be going to wash the cups. I said, we washed the cups last week. He said, yeah, if they let us, we'll wash them this week. I said, I don't want to wash the cups. He said, we'll go and get drunk. I said, I don't want to get drunk. He said, we'll come and wash the cups. I said, all right. So we went and washed the cups. 4 months this went on for. 4 months every Tuesday washing 200 rotten big-ass china cups. One day I'm there washing the cups. Dude comes up, stands next to the end of the sink. I said, what do you want? He said, my sponsor said I've got to wash the cups. I said, what cups? He said, I guess them cups. I said, piss off, these are my cups. Yeah, I wasn't letting no one wash my cups. So I learned here to take my commitments very seriously, and I do, and I have, and that was over 25 years ago, and I've stuck around and haven't drank since. Never came here to quit drinking on January the 15th, 1983. I came to the first meeting in West Hollywood, January the 15th, 1983, and I was so sick that I didn't know I was sick. And that's really sick. When you're so sick that you don't know you're sick, that's really sick. And if you're as sick as I was when I got here, so sick that I not only don't know I'm sick, but I look round the room and I scan the room and I think, well, I ain't as sick as him. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be in a room full of alkies thinking you ain't as sick as the next guy? That's really sick. So if you're in here tonight wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alkie or not, I want you to know that I can relate to being as sick as you don't think you are. You know, really sick, and I never knew it. I absolutely didn't know it, you know. I was just like the very first page of the beautiful book Alcoholics Anonymous, which I don't see up here tonight, but we usually do have one. Have we got any big books back there? Sure, I'd like a big book up here if we got one. I like the tools of the trade here. On the very first... here, he's got one, my friend. Thank you. There's a very sick dude bringing it up as well. I think this is the only time he ever picks it up. I love this book, Alcoholics Anonymous. You know why it's called Alcoholics Anonymous? Because... Now, I'm going to just back up a little bit, because I sometimes offend people, and I don't mean to, I don't intend to, but sometimes I do. And because we're very delicate dudes and dudettes, aren't we, in Alcoholics Anonymous? So sometimes we get our feelings hurt, you know. So just in case you get offended and want to leave, I'll tell you everything there is to know straight away. Look, Alcoholics Anonymous. Look, Alcoholics Anonymous. ALCOHOLICS, Alcoholics. ANONYMOUS, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is what it means. A life centred on helping others lives in complete sobriety. Actions, not our names, yield maintenance of unity and service. And that's all there is, folks. There ain't no more than that. So if you've got to leave, you've heard all there is, so you can piss off now if you want. But I don't mean to offend you, you know. Anyway, when I got here on January the 15th, I never knew nothing about nothing. I don't know what you brought to Alcoholics Anonymous. In this beautiful book, it says we share in a general way what we were like, what happened, and what it's like now. What I brought to Alcoholics Anonymous was a lot of hurt and hate. That's what I brought here, hurt and hate. I don't know whether you relate to that or not, but I brought hurt and hate. I hurt and I hate everything. I can't stand nothing. I hurt and I hate. I hate women. I can't stand women. Not just that one who's walking out. No, but I hope everything comes out all right, love. Anyway, I hate women. Can't stand women. I hate homos and queers and anybody different. I hate black people. I'm totally racist and prejudiced. I'm from London, England, living in Los Angeles, and I hate foreigners, you know. I can't stand me. I hate you and get away from me. Don't come near me. And with all that turmoil and torment going on inside, I still have to try and present to you a picture of somebody you will like. Because when your higher power is what people think of you, if you don't like me, I'm screwed. You know? And that's what I brought to Alcoholics Anonymous. And alcohol wasn't doing its job anymore. Alcohol wasn't the buffer between me and you and the rest of the world. Alcohol wasn't changing my perception of reality so that I can stand this rotten world with you rotten people that I can't stand and hate. And alcohol had stopped working. That didn't mean that alcohol wasn't getting me drunk, and that didn't mean that I wasn't falling down, you know, with bad liver and blacking out. That didn't mean that. What it did mean, it meant that alcohol was no longer doing the job that alcohol does for the alcoholic. If you be alcoholic, it's important to understand what it is about me that makes me alcoholic. There's things about alcoholics that are common to us and that we could read in a library book, for example, such as one's too many and 1,000 ain't enough. Once I start, I can't stop. And once I start, I can't stop drinking and I can't stop from starting, right? Anybody know what I'm talking about with that one? I can't stop from starting, and once I've started, I can't stop. See? I black out, you know. I have all the symptoms that alcoholics do, but that's not what makes me alcoholic. What makes me an alcoholic is something that differentiates me from my three sisters and brother. And in the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, this beautiful book, it says on page 20, if you are an alcoholic who wants to get over it, you may already be asking, what do I have to do? What did I want to get over? Well, what I wanted to get over was all the ism, all the alcoholism that was crippling me, all the unmanageability, all the degradation, and all the price I was paying that drinking was causing me, all the discontent, all the turmoil, all the rebuttals from life and the people I knew. I wanted to get over the trauma of all the things that were going on. And I didn't know that I was alcoholic. I didn't know what it meant to be an alcoholic. I had no idea where I came from in London, England. You know, we never ever considered alcohol and alcoholism. Where I came from, everybody drank. You know, I don't know why we drank. I had no idea why we drank. Nobody ever asked me why I drank. You know, I don't know why we drank. Nobody ever discussed why we drank. We just drank. It was a natural inhibition to do it. I mean, we drank if the team won, we drank if the team lost. If it was a tie, we drank till there was a result. We just drank. Don't know why we drank. No one ever asked why we drank. No one ever suggested we shouldn't drink. You know, we just drank. You guys all know why you do it. I hear it in meetings like this. I saw it in the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Doctor's opinion said alcoholics drink primarily because they like the effect produced by alcohol. I said, oh, all right. I don't have a problem with that. Never thought about it, but okay. You know, you guys were saying in meetings why you drank. You drank because you couldn't stand the pain. You drank because you was covering up who you was. You drank because you had all these issues. Like, pass the tissues, I got issues. You know, and I thought, at what stage of the game do you discover that? I can't even imagine that, me. I can't imagine going into any pub I ever drank at and saying to the bartender, oh, bartender, hit me with a triple shot of your best booze, because I can't stand who I am and I want to cover up the pain tonight. Never happened. Oh, Mr. Dealer Man, give me an extra rock of crack cocaine, because I really feel inadequate. Never happened. Never happened. See, so I don't know why I do what I do. I just always do it. Always have done it. I got 3 sisters and a brother, not alcoholic. I'm alcoholic. My 3 sisters and brother ain't alcoholic. They don't know why I drink. I don't know why they don't. I asked them, why don't you drink? They said, I don't like it. I said, what? What don't you like about it? They said, well, if I've won too many, I feel sick. I said, sick? You got to drink past that. I mean, who stops at sick? I don't know, you know. I mean, they don't laugh. They think I'm weird. Are there any other weirdos in here tonight? Yeah, and the rest of you lying mothers. I know weirdos, you know. I mean, I don't know. All my life people said, what is wrong with you? The hell's wrong with you? For Christ's sake, what's wrong with you? Goddamn weirdo. The hell's wrong with you? And they would ask me what's wrong with me as if I knew. What is wrong with you? Oh, actually, I've got a twofold disease. It's an obsession of the mind, allergy of the body, can't control my drinking. I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Why do you drink like you do? Why don't you drink like I do? I don't know, because I don't know. I don't know nothing about alcohol or alcoholism and what it is and what it ain't. I just do it, always have done it. You know, my 3 sisters and brother, you know, they don't drink like I do because alcohol don't have the same effect on them that it does on me. My own mum, she was an alcoholic. My 3 sisters and brother have a drink and they may even get drunk, but it don't have the same effect on them that it has on me. My mum, she just passed this year. God bless her, and she loved me till the day she died, but she didn't understand me. She never understood me as much as you folk who've never seen me before and might not see me again. You know me better being alcoholic than my own mum knew me. Every year I would go home to London, England, see me mum. Every year, first thing I do, I go round my mum's house, I knock her up and I tell her, Mum, I'm 24 years sober. She'd say, so is the cat. She don't give me a pat on the back for not doing something I shouldn't have done anyway. She says, I'm busy, I'm going to bingo, she says. You know, my 3 sisters and brother, I mean, see, what it is about me that makes me alcoholic is not what I do because I'm alcoholic. What makes me alcoholic is not the alcoholic addictive behaviour that I could read in a library book or that we all share. What makes me alcoholic is something that differentiates me from my 3 sisters and brother and 9/10 of the rest of the world. And what that is that I have an abnormal reaction to alcohol. Alcohol affects the alcoholic abnormally. Alcohol doesn't have the same effect on non-alcoholics that it has on alcoholics. We all think it does, but it doesn't. You know, if my 3 sisters and brother have a drink or may even get drunk, it don't change their perception of reality. See, come Monday morning, they take their kids to school, they pay their bills, take care of their responsibility. Not me, I go to Tijuana, for Christ's sake. You know? See, what makes me alcoholic is that alcohol changes my perception of reality. That's what alcohol does for the alcoholic that it don't do for the normal person, though we all think it does. See, alcohol doesn't change their perception of reality like it does for the alcoholic. I call it a nerd remover. Alcohol removes the nerdness. I feel like a nerd, I drink, and I don't feel like a nerd. I feel like a nerd and I drink and I don't care if I'm a nerd. I feel like a nerd and I drink and you're a goddamn nerd. Screw you. See, alcohol takes away the nerdness, see? Or as Mary in my own group down there in Santa Monica puts it, she says that, you know, alcohol makes her wittier, prettier and tiddier, you know? And I know exactly what she means, you know? Alcohol changes my perception of reality, and it don't do that for the non-alcoholic. When I got to that first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous in West Hollywood, a dude got up in my face and said, "You're alcoholic." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You're an alcoholic." I said, "Why'd you say that? That's a mean thing to say to somebody." He said, "You're alcoholic." I said, "What? Why?" He said, "Because if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a bloody duck. Just because he's been taking some shit and thinks he's an eagle, no, you're an alcoholic, you're a duck. I'm a duck, you're a duck. Quack, quack," he said. I went, holy shit. But he was really explaining to me what it was that made me alcoholic. See, alcohol changed me from a duck to an eagle. I go out drinking as a delicate little duck, have a few stiff ones and turn into an eagle and go swooping around looking for prey. See? Until January the 15th, 1983, when alcohol stops working. Alcohol doesn't stop getting me drunk. Alcohol stops removing the nerdness. Alcohol stops changing my perception of the reality that I'm in, this rotten reality that I can't stand. Because I don't like sober. I don't like being sober. I don't like the humanness of being sober. I don't like that. I want to be out there somewhere. I've always wanted to be out there. I never want to be, even when I was a little kid, you know, when I was a little kid, just a little kid, you know, they used to say, "What's wrong with that kid? There's something wrong with that kid. He don't hear shit right." And I don't know, I'm a little kid. And he goes, "Put him away, lock him up somewhere, put him in a home. That little kid, he's weird, that kid. Something wrong with him." Because you know what would happen? I didn't know it then, of course, but children, and like these children that we got, you know, we learn our survival techniques. It was so devastating where I came from that, you know, my survival technique as a kid was that people would tell me shit and I wouldn't like it, couldn't stand it. So in my imagination of a little kid, I would change it to what I did like and then blame you for having told me. And they'd say, "Where does he get this from? Put him away, lock him up in a home somewhere, get him away. He's weird." And so I didn't know. He kept locking me up and putting me away and calling me weird and said I had a hearing problem, don't hear shit right. You know, sometimes it was all right not hearing shit right. I was on a bus one day and I fell up against this chick with these big ones. She said, "Move your hands." I went, sure, squeeze. It's handy sometimes not hearing shit right. But that's how I survived as a little kid. And then when I found alcohol and drugs did for me what I'd been doing as a little kid. It changed my perception of reality until it didn't anymore. And when it didn't anymore, that's when the pain became so great. And you know what? I didn't know that this disease of alcoholism that I had was so powerful. It was so powerful, it dictated and dominated everything I say, do, think and feel. And it made me do shit that I didn't want to do. Even when I absolutely didn't want to do it, the disease I got that I was powerless over made me do it anyway. I don't know whether you relate to that or not. Has anybody ever said, I ain't going to do that no more, and then gone and done it? Who done that? Anybody relate to the last half? Because I'm a real alcoholic that did mountains of drugs, see? And, you know, the last half. Anybody ever do the last half? Anyone know what I mean by the last half? Anybody ever say, I ain't touching no more cocaine, I don't even like cocaine, I ain't even a cocaine dude, man. I hate that cocaine, I ain't touching that, and I ain't never touching that again. I'll just finish this last half. And then 28 last halves later, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I gotta not want to do it no more, but I can't rely on not wanting to do it. I gotta not want to do it, but I can't rely on not wanting to do it. Because I can't not do it just because I don't want to, because the disease I got is more powerful than my desire to not to. I gotta not want to do it, but I can't rely on not wanting to do it. I gotta not want to do it, then do these steps in this work so that I don't do what I already don't want to do. And if I ain't doing these steps in this work or ain't done these steps in this work, I will do what I don't want to do, because the disease I got that I'm powerless over will make me do what I don't want to do. You think I knew that shit when I got here? Never had a clue, never had a clue. Never knew nothing about nothing. You know, but you guys did and you taught me. You know, you guys did and you taught me. You know, how come the first step of the 12 steps, which is different to the first step in recovery? See, the first step in recovery is a different step to the first of the 12 steps. And most people don't even realise there's 2 first steps in the programme of Alcoholics Anonymous. But there are. On page 30 it says, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. And why a lot of people relapse, and there's a tremendous amount of us that relapse, is because they never ever fully concede to their innermost self that they're alcoholic. They say they're alcoholic, they'll even admit they're alcoholic, but they never fully concede to their innermost self that they're alcoholic, and it's a totally different thing to admittance, acceptance and surrender. And guess what, folks? Admittance, acceptance and surrender ain't mentioned in the programme of Alcoholics Anonymous. But people walk around quoting it all the time in meetings. And because they're so busy quoting what ain't in the book, they don't quote what is in the book, which is we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. A lot of people confuse the first of the 12 steps with admitting we're alcoholic. But nowhere there does it say we admitted we were alcoholic in the first of the 12 steps. And so a lot of people think they've done a first step by admitting they're alcoholic. It's not true. It's often confused, and a lot of people drink again over it. And a lot of us need to take more consideration with that, to learn to fully concede to our innermost self that we're alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. Now, the first of the 12 steps is a totally different step. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. What did that mean? I didn't know what it meant. Where I come from, you didn't admit powerlessness. Powerless? What do you mean powerless? I mean, you didn't admit no powerlessness where I came from. They'd have changed my name from Mickey to Michelle or something if I had done, you know. But, I mean, you know, the powerless, what does that mean? What does it mean to be powerless? I went around asking people. Guess what? They didn't know. They could say they were powerless, but they didn't know what it meant. They said things like, once I put a drug of any kind in my body. It's not true. That's not what powerless is. Well, once I can't control and enjoy it. That's not, or none of that's what powerless is. All that stuff about what we do when we drink and drug is not what powerless is. You know, if you know of any other speakers, and we got some great speakers, especially at this meeting, Sean's done a wonderful job here, that give a definition of powerlessness, let me know, because I want to talk to them. I don't like being the only one I know giving a definition of powerlessness. Not what do I do because I'm powerless, and not the consequences of being powerless. That's a totally different thing. What does it mean to be powerless over alcohol? Well, I had to learn. It said we had to learn. In the beautiful book, it said, there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Don't clap on your own. Someone will throw you a fish. There's one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. We have no preference with we have no truck with anybody's preference along these lines of what you consider God to be. In the beautiful book, page 93 says he can choose any concept of God he likes, provided it makes sense to him. So find something that makes sense to you. Don't just go on and say, I don't understand God. Who can understand God? You ain't got to understand God, but you better have an understanding of something greater than yourself that will save your ass. Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning when the demons are screaming and your ass is in a sling and you got a drink so bad it's ripping your guts out. You better have more going for you than the fact that you don't want to do it. Okay. So find something you understand that has power greater than yourself. You ain't got to understand God, but you better have an understanding of something that's more greater than yourself. And in the second step, there's no mention of God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, or any other noun we use. We automatically assume that it must be, but we don't. I think that hurts a lot of alkies when they come in. It did me. So yeah, what does it mean to be powerless? Powerless equals no power. God equals power. Therefore, powerless equals godless. When I get here, I have no God in my life as far as alcohol's concerned. I have no power in my life to combat the power of the disease that I'm in the grips of and under the spell of, and in and of myself I am screwed. Without a power that I can depend upon to beat the power of the disease that has got me by the short ones and just wheels me in like a fish any time it wants me to drink. This disease is so powerful. And the book talks about it. Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling and powerful. And that confused me for a while because I thought, well, if God's got all the power, does that mean he's got all the power except the power of the disease? You know, then he ain't got all the power, does he? But what it really meant was that there was positive and negative. There was black and white, big and small, up and down. There was good and bad. There was the devil and the Lord. There was the yin and the yang. See, God had all the positive power and the devil and the disease had all the negative power. And I was in the grips of the disease that had me by the short ones, man. And in and of myself, I had no power to combat the power of the disease that made me do what I already didn't want to do. And I couldn't not do it just because I didn't want to do it. Well, how come I got no God in my life? I was raised in a religion, for heaven's sake. You know, I know all about God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad. How come I'm a child of God? How come I got no God in my life? Guess what I learned? For the alcoholic, potential alcoholic, years before I got here, long before I suffered the ravages of January the 15th, 1983, long before I paid the price of untreated alcoholism, when I first started drinking years ago, this disease I got gets me to abandon God and spirituality so that along the path of life, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, the disease becomes all powerful in my life, dictating and dominating everything I say, do, think and feel. And in and of myself, I am helpless, hopeless and powerless to resist its demands. Powerless. The disease got me to abandon God and spirituality so that it became the power in my life. And here I was, destitute in every department, in the spell of a disease that I couldn't get out from under. That's why hitting bottom was so imperative, folks. Hitting bottom's not mentioned in the programme of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know whether you knew that or not. Anybody read this book, by the way? It's a good idea. It's a good idea, you know. Hitting bottom, H-I-T-B-O-T-T-O-M. Hurting inside, totally burnt out, turned to our master. Hitting bottom, I asked people what it meant, what it was. Guess what? Folks didn't know. They thought, believed and said they did know, but they didn't know. What I heard from folks who talked about hitting bottom was the devastation and the consequences and the outside conditions their life were in as a result of their untreated alcoholism. But hitting bottom wasn't about the outside circumstances and conditions my life was in. People thought it was and said it was, but it's not. I asked a couple just recently. I asked one little chickadee, I said, "What was your bottom, love? Tell me what your bottom was." She said, "Well, I was feet to the curb, hustling the Broadway, prostituting myself, trying to earn $1." I said, "That wasn't your bottom, love." She said, "Well, I think it was." I said, "I don't care what you think." I said to the dude, "What was your bottom, pal?" He said, "That's easy." He said, "I was locked up in a penitentiary, married to Bubba." I said, "That wasn't your bottom." He said, "It felt like it was." See, hitting bottom isn't about the outside stuff, folks. We think it is, say it is, but it isn't. Hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. That's why hitting bottom's the same for us all, not different. I know in our meetings we say things like everybody's bottom's different, but it's not. Everybody's outside circumstances and conditions of their life may be different, and those outside circumstances may enable us to become capable of hitting bottom, but in and of themselves they're not the bottom. And the danger of believing that they are is that as those outside circumstances and conditions get better and improve, as they will if you stay sober and clean, we falsely believe we've gotten better and improved and drink and use again. Hitting bottom is the same. There's no unity in being different, folks. But hitting bottom is the same for us all, not different. See, on January the 15th, 1983, I remember it so clearly. I can remember, without knowing what I was saying, without knowing who I was saying it to, and without knowing what the results of what I was saying was going to be, I can remember in desperation and despair, hurting so bad, going, "Help me, what is wrong with me? Help me, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Help me." And asked for help. ASK, Ask Saving Kit. Help, H-E-L-P, His ever-loving presence. And guess what, folks? Though years ago I'd abandoned him, he hadn't abandoned me. And when I turned back to him and asked for help, it's almost like he was looking over my shoulder and he seemed to say to me, "Mick, you silly bugger, I've been waiting for you to ask." Now get yourself over that 12-step program. Sent me to you. I asked for help and he sent me to you. That's why I know God and the power are different. If you've got a religious God or a God of a denomination that you believe in and works for you, great. Thank it for this power. Don't confuse it with this power. A lot of people do. But this power that we have in Alcoholics Anonymous, a power greater than myself, me plus you is a power greater than me, you plus us is a power greater than you. Together we can do what I couldn't do. I couldn't stay clean, you couldn't stay clean, but together we can stay clean. Here's a power greater than myself, is of God and from God and provided by God for an alcoholic to not have to drink today. But it's not God. It's of God and from God and provided by God, but it's not God. No more than the money in my pocket is the bank. The money in my pocket is of the bank and from the bank and provided by the bank, but it ain't the bank. There's a lot more to the bank than the money in my pocket, the same as there's a lot more to God than what's in this room right now. That's why we can turn our will and our life in 3. See? I turned back to God and asked for help, and he came back in my life and sent me to you. Here was a 12-step spiritual fellowship. You guys introduced me to a big book, B-I-G-B-O-O-K, Believing in God Beats Our Old Knowledge. In the beautiful book was a program, P-R-O-G-R-A-M, People Relying on God, Relaying a Message. Message, M-E-S-S-A-G-E, me, Step, Sponsor and God every day. Steps, S-T-E-P-S, Solution to every problem, sober. Holy shit. Well, how do I do that? Get a sponsor. SPONSOR. Sober person offering newcomers suggestions on recovery. Holy shit. What's a newcomer? NEWCOMER. Nothing else worked. Completely out of manageability. Enter recovery. Wow. Steps. Have I got to do the steps? Yes. Why? Because if you want to quit drinking and using, don't replace it with the steps, you go crazy, you go nuts. NUTS. Not using the steps. Holy shit. Well, why do you want to be sober? Why do I want to be sober? Because I came here a hopeless dope fiend, now I'm a dopeless hope fiend. That's why I want to be sober. What do you mean sober anyway? SOBER. Son of a bitch. Everything's real. That's why. You think I knew this shit when I got here? Never had a clue, folks. Never had a clue. Never knew. I never knew I was powerless over alcohol. I never knew that. But you see, this power that we have in rooms like this, and same as anything that you deem God. You know what's good about this wonderful fellowship? Every known denomination known claims that our 12 steps came from their doctrines. Doesn't matter the Quran, the Bible, whatever you got, doesn't make any difference. They all claim that our 12 steps came from their teachings. Wonderful fellowship to belong to. We got no truck with anybody's preference along these lines. And they probably did. Bill Wilson, our co-founder, was a crook, so he probably stole whatever he wanted from wherever he wanted it, you know. But we got no chuck with anybody's preference. Why? Because it says he can choose anything he likes, provided it makes sense to him. And whatever makes sense to you is okay with us. Why? Because it's got something in common with everybody else's sense that it makes to them. Whatever you got that you deem as a power greater than yourself, call it God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, whatever you like. Don't matter, call it bloody Mashiganovich if you like. Nobody cares. It's got something in common with everybody else's. Just like in this room now, if there's a couple of hundred people here, there may be a couple of hundred different forms of power greater than self. But they've all got at least one thing in common. You know what that is? All the gods send their alkies here, don't they? That's good shit, isn't it? We got no truck with anybody's preference, and here we got a way of living that we can absolutely depend upon to not have to drink today. That's what we got, folks. That's all we got really here. We got a way of living that we can absolutely depend upon. And with the beautiful book, it says, with this attitude, you cannot fail. I'd buy that, wouldn't you? I'd buy a guarantee with that. With this attitude, you cannot fail. And you know what? I'm living proof that you ain't the sickest person in this room. And I'm living proof that they let anybody in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm certified insane in 4 different countries, for Christ's sake. I wonder sometimes, God, I wonder, you know. You know, you guys have given me the message. I know I carry the message to you, but I do it for me, and you guys give me the message all the time. I hear it from your laughter, the language of the heart, HEART, healing, enjoying and recovering together. The laughter. If you're wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alcoholic addict or not, I'll give you a little clue. You better not have laughed in here tonight, because if you've laughed, you may have caught this disease. Because they say if you're laughing, you're relating. And if you're relating to a sick bastard like me, there ain't no doubt about you, pal, I'll tell you that. You know. My telephone number, I've got 2 telephone numbers, 818-RU-SOBER and 818-RU-CLEAN. 818-RU, like Toys R Us, S-O-B-E-R, S-O-B-E-R, yeah, RU sober. I got 818-RU clean, C-L-E-A-N, completely leaving every addiction now, because we have to leave it all behind, folks. I know we're talking about alcohol and alcoholism, but it has to include all mind, mood, altering chemicals that affect you from the neck up, you see. I love hearing from you. I love getting your calls. I love, you know, being available in Alcoholics Anonymous. Didn't bring that in here with me, folks. Did not come in here happy, joyous and free or caring about anybody else but me. I learned on the very first day to be active in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know how I learned it? Because you guys, after that first meeting, I got home and I had 2 telephone numbers in my pocket. And guess what? I called one of them. Now, I know you don't, but I did. I called up this dude. I said, I don't know who you are, pal, but I got your phone number in my hand. Oh, he said, I recognise your accent from the meeting at lunchtime. Oh, I said, was you at the meeting? He said, yeah, I gave you the number. I told you I weren't glued together very well. I said, what about them meetings? He said, what about them? I said, you go to them meetings? Yes, he said. I said, how long have you been going to them meetings? He said, 4 months. I said, 4 months? Been sober 4 months? Yes, he said. I said, you go to their meetings at night? Yes, he said, every night. I said, can I go to one of their meetings with you tonight? And he went, well, normally I would say yes, he said, but I've made arrangements to go to a movie tonight. Oh, I said, all right, don't matter, don't matter. Went all little and inhibited inside again, you know how we do. And he picked up on it, didn't he? He went, wait a minute, holy shit. I said, what's the matter? He said, you may have just saved my life. I said, no, I never done nothing. You know, I didn't know it was a disease of denial, D-E-N-I-A-L. Don't even notice I am lying, you know. He said, a newcomer wants to go to a meeting. I tell him, no, I'm going to a movie. Holy shit. He said, you may have just saved my life. Where do you live? I'm coming round to pick you up. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, what about your movie? He said, you're much more important than a movie. Went all special again, didn't I? He came round and picked me up and took me to a meeting. Got me a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, 3rd edition. Still got it. Got lots of miles on it too. Showed me the first step. Set me off on this path. I was all shaky and smelly, but I stuck around. You know, there's a little tangent to that story that I like to tell because the guy's still around and he's a good friend and one of the earliest founder members of Cocaine Anonymous. I was out in Balboa Park, out in San Fernando Valley, where I got some interests out there, and I was in a whole bunch of my newcomer troops, and we were at the picnic out there, and we were having a fun time, and it was a good day. And my troops ain't got a lot of money, but we do things like, you know, security and clean up and contributing to the overall event. I was walking around there, and I bumped into old Zachary, and I said, hi, Zachary, how you doing, brother man? And he went, I'm doing great, Mick. He said, I hear you're doing good too. I said, I'm doing fantastic. Real glad I don't get what I deserve. I said, what are you doing on this side of the hill? Because he lives here in Beverly Hills. He said, I'm speaking at the meeting today. I said, holy shit. Zachary was the guy who took me to that meeting all those years ago. And it took me a minute to just for the penny to drop. 25 years later, he's still 4 months ahead of me. Still doing what we do around here. It's a program of action. Get involved, folks. Get commitments. Participate in your recovery. Become a small part of this great whole that I love so much. I know I get a lot of juice and I know I get a lot of rah-rah, but, you know, we don't put people on pedestals. There's nobody more important than anybody else here in Alcoholics Anonymous. I just got told that I was a celebrity in Alcoholics Anonymous. I was over in my old home group in the Valley. 2 well-known actresses who you all know, who I've known a long time, come out of the meeting. They said, oh, Mick, haven't seen you in a while. I said, no, I live in Santa Monica now. I don't get here very often. They said, oh, she said, I was doing a picture in New York. She said, and two meetings I went to, and in both the meetings they quoted you and mentioned you by name. You're like this celebrity dude. You're like this guru-type guy who walks around speaking in meetings all the time. I didn't realise what a celebrity you'd become in Alcoholics Anonymous. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, yeah, bloody big deal, a celebrity in an anonymous program. Yeah. No, you're a celebrity. I'm just a small part of a great whole. And I love that. I love being a small part of a great whole, being a one among many, doing my commitments, being a contributing member of Alcoholics Anonymous. God bless you and thank you for allowing me to come.